And I think at the wrong time, it can sink your company too. Like, it's just like, it's an expense you gotta be careful with and make sure you're doing, like, it puts effort, you have to put time into it. Like, you have to have the time to do it. That was our big thing. We didn't realize, like, obviously, you have other initiatives you're doing. You're trying to get customers, you're trying to build your own software, do other things. And then doing SOC 2 requires its own effort. You have to change things, you have to make sure you're up to date, you have to follow certain rules, and that takes time. So you got to make sure you're in a good place to do it. And that was a big part of, like, you know, development wise.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Anchor's Way, the Anchor Point podcast. Today we have with us Dr. Robert Parkins, the co-founder of MyBalto. It's a SaaS platform for serving veterinary hospitals. First off, I want to say I love the name of the company. I will say that I love the story of Balto growing up. Like I knew what you were referring to, like right when I saw the name. I want to call out that the first Balto film I thought was like a great high point of American animated film because that's where I first learned about the story.
Yeah.
For our listeners, like if you don't know the story of Balto and how a sled dog like became a national hero, I think you should go look it up. I think it's on Netflix actually, so I'll make sure to watch that with the kids this weekend.
Right on.
Robert, maybe you can tell us a bit about MyBalto, like what you guys do, what you guys are addressing, and yeah.
Oh, thank you. First of all, Joe, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. I know your time's always busy, so I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to speak with me about, kind of what my Balto does and kind of our journey to where we got to be here today. So honestly, a lot of it comes down to my experience as an ER veterinarian. Uh, the job's tough sometimes. We deal with a lot of owners who really want to do more for their pets than what they're financially able to achieve. And those conversations don't usually go well. It's usually a combination of either free services, relinquishment of the pet, or the harder part is where we have to put them to sleep for something that we truly can't fix because the finances are getting in the way. And there are organizations out there that help give angel funds to hospitals to support them so they can take in donations and then use those donations for pets at their practice. But the challenge is a lot of times they have so many restrictions in order to access them. Your dog has to have three legs and one eye before they'll say yes, or you need a credit score of 400 before you're eligible. It wasn't practical. It took too long because I'm on an ER basis at 2 a.m. and your dog comes in at 2:01. I don't have time to wait till the following Friday to hear back from someone because your dog needs surgery now. So I complained a lot to my brother, and he was kind enough to just tell me to go fix it. And that's kind of how we got onto this journey of where we're at now, where we built this platform that allows hospitals to easily manage their own angel funds and use them on the spot immediately to help those patients they really care about, which is pretty cool.
It's awesome. Um, as an entrepreneur, was there you told me before, like you and your brother came up with this idea. He told you, hey, go take care of this. Like, but
Yeah.
was there a moment that like kind of kickstarted this whole process for you?
It really, actually, he told me just like, hey, go create a business plan for it. And I'll take a look for it. I'll help you along the way a little bit. And ironically enough, I dragged him down with me. So he couldn't get away from it. And he's got a lot of experience in the entrepreneurial tech finance space. So like it worked out that I knew my space, he knew his space, and we were able to like kind of use our combined expertise to make this work, which is why I'm very grateful for not only having a younger brother who knows, what he knows, but also just for we get to work together every day now. So that's a small blessing in itself because not every family gets to say they one get along with their family or two get to work with them every day. So I think that's a small little bonus.
Business and family sometimes, very risky, right? But it sounds like it's
Yes.
working out pretty good for you guys.
Yeah, we got very lucky with it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I have three brothers, and
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever go into business with them. Yeah.
That's very
But
fair.
you guys were initially bootstrapped. I know you said that you had some like family that helped invest, and
Yeah, so we start off with friends and family, just like a lot of early startups. To see if they can get the support from people who know you best. And then now we're actually going to probably our first real round of fundraising to kind of meet the growth. We've proved our product is viable. People want it. We know we can make money. We're showing that we can make money. But now it's more about like how do we make this better? How do we optimize this? And that's what a lot of times when you need those capital infusions to grow your team or to improve your software or to meet certain security standards like SOC 2, which is, one of the reasons how we met in the first place.
what did the space look like prior to you guys, right? Because pet insurance is out there. Why isn't it working the way it should?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and it's a difficult space, and it's got a lot of different answers for it. But I think to sum it up, I guess succinctly, is insurance isn't mandated like it is in the human space. Like I get penalized in my taxes when I don't have insurance, right? That's a part of what you have medical insurance. So like we're forced to have it. If you don't, you got to find a good reason for not having it. Whereas in the pet space, it's one of the first things. Like pets are expensive as is, and it's usually the first thing. Like when I have other financial difficulties in my family, it's one of the first things. Like, well, our pet's healthy right now. We don't need to have that insurance right now, so I can get rid of that $125 a month fee because they're doing fine. They're 5 years old. They don't need it right now. Well, 5 years passes, your dog gets older, and now you wish you had that insurance because you got rid of it a while ago. And unfortunately, less than 5% of the population has insurance for their pets. So it's a very small number, and it's just not a that's kind of the big thing. I would love it to be 95%. That'd make my job a hell of a lot easier. But unfortunately, it's just not a common practice right now. But people are getting better with it, which is nice.
So that this is you said this is your first, like, switching gears, but this is your first entrepreneurial venture?
This is my first, so it's been a bit of an eye-opening experience, I think, on a couple different fronts. And I presented this idea of what we wanted to do to my brother, and he's like, "Yeah, no, it sounds like a good idea. Let's go start off." And we get going. And all of a sudden, part of like when you develop your business plan or your market fit is like, is anyone else doing this? And of course, like the next day, I found someone who was already doing what we had kind of wanted to do, and I call him panic, being like, "Dude, they're already doing this. Like this entire idea is shot. Like we can't do this anymore." He's
Yeah.
like, calm down. First of all, do you remember AOL? They were the first to do it. Where are we now? He's like, there's no reason why you can't build a better mousetrap. There's no reason why you can't do the same thing, but just better. And he's like, so take a deep breath, let's restart and to find a way to make it better than what they're doing. And I think that really showed me that like it's a different approach. And he's always had this mentality of say yes. Find a way to say yes. And I think that's really been powerful in terms of like our entrepreneurial journey because he's always about like, give me 24 hours to figure it out. And the next day he figures something out and as you know, entrepreneurial journeys suck. You have like really great days and then they plummet the next day and then you're back up the next day and you're like, why did I decide to do this again? So
Right.
that's been my experience so far.
Yeah. No, I can relate, definitely. There have been times where things are going awesome and we think like, oh my gosh, this is really going to take off. And then there are other times where I kind of like you, I was like, there's a million other people doing what I do. Like, why did I do this? Why did I leave that steady job? I think it's great that you have your brother to kind of like lean on. Sounds like, he's been through like the trials and tribulations before, but I think even with someone with his experience, like it doesn't this doesn't get any easier, right? Like you're going through
No.
every day thinking like, are we gonna be here 6 months from now? Are we gonna be here 9 months from now? Right. And then fortunately you'll have a great day. And then you say, yeah, the world is my oyster. Like, I can do anything.
Yep. It's just kind of like having a captain who knows what they're doing. You're still driving through a storm, but at least they can keep a little steadier than the person who's never been in the storm before, sort of things.
You're not a technical guy. Like, you've shared this with me. You said your brother fills in like the cybersecurity side of things. I think our listeners would actually love like your perspective on this. Like, when did you come into SOC 2? Did you know what the heck that was? What was like the first when someone told you, okay, hey, maybe we should start looking into SOC 2? What was the first thing that you guys did?
Yeah, so it's funny that you bring that up because like I'd know I'd never heard of it before. So for me, I was like, I don't even know what the SOC 2
What
is,
is that?
especially because like it's written differently. It's like SOC 2, like Roman numerals. I was like, all right, no, whatever. But I was like, all right, fine. It's funny because it came up because we're in a meeting with a big corporate group, someone we were hoping to like onboard because they really liked what we were doing. Their hospitals had requested it, and we're in the middle of this meeting, and all of a sudden, like 15 minutes in, one of their chief technology officers, I'll be honest, they weren't the nicest during this meeting in the first place. But they were like, "Do you guys even have your SOC 2 certification?" And I kind of like subtly look at my brother through the screen because this is a virtual call, and I'm like, huh?
Uh,
And I didn't know.
okay.
And all of a sudden, they just reamed us a new one in terms of like, well, and to be fair, they need SOC 2 certification because they had an issue with their own technology on the back end. So that's why they're like hyper vigilant of, and they're one of probably the leaders in our industry who are now focused on that, and everybody's kind of following suit.
Okay.
Um, so like they had a problem with their own security a long time ago, and that's why now they are hyper vigilant with it
Hyper
on
vigilant
their
about it.
side.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I first learned about it, and then we had the, well, apparently we need to get SOC 2 certified. What does that even look like? And fortunately, my brother likes to do those deep dives, and he took a very, very deep dive into that whole space of how much it costs. And there's just, I would say, there's a lot of information out there in
There
terms of
is,
like
unfortunately.
what you need, how much it costs. I think those are all just like big things that I never knew about. And like every week you like come back, you're like, well, I found this other company going to do this for less. But then we found out some companies weren't even really certifying you, which is also another big issue because you pay X amount of dollars and realize you're not even certified. I guess I'm sure most people know if they're listening to your podcast, like what SOC 2 certification is. But for like the plain people like myself, essentially just means you have a gold star that your software is, looked at by a third party. That means it's safe now, that, it's less likely someone's going to break in and steal sensitive data. That's kind of like my very limited, average Joe explanation of it. Maybe you can give a better one because maybe I'd actually like to hear from you, like someone who actually works in the industry. If you want to give yours, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on, right, with what you've described so far. Like from your point of view, right? SOC 2 is kind of seen as the de facto trust like assurance center. If you are looking to work with like partners or enterprise companies, a SOC 2 is a framework that you use for your systems, not just like your software. You apply the system to minimize risk across the entire organization, right? That's like kind of like my 2 minute spiel on it. Um, in the United States, we don't have a single governing body that says, okay, now MyBalto is secure. But SOC 2 is kind of the closest way we can get there. There aren't a whole lot of like hard set requirements. A lot of it is depending on like how you are set up. So I know
Really?
like you guys, yeah, yeah. So like you may think because you guys are using Sprinto, right? Great platform,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, curious how you found them, by the way. I'd love to learn, like, because you said you guys went through this
Yes.
entire journey. Curious how you
Yeah.
got to them. I had been working with Sprinto at my last company for a long time. I think we were actually one of the earliest like adopters and
Oh, nice.
users and auditors of Sprinto. But anyway, um, platforms nowadays say, hey, here's a whole blueprint, right, of controls. You guys, Robert, you guys may have thought, because a lot of customers think this, like we have to do what they tell us. But you can actually edit stuff, you can throw stuff out. You say this control doesn't apply to us. We're a small
Oh, really?
company, so we can't do this. So that's kind of there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of like ambiguity in SOC 2, but
Oh, okay.
um as you've probably seen, there's also been a lot of controversy lately. But I
Yep.
still think SOC 2, just like anything else in life, is what you make out of it. So if you take it seriously, you can get a lot out of it, right? If you kind of just look at it as like, hey, this is just something I need to do. We just need to check the box, and and then we can hopefully sign up this big client, right? Then that's all it will be, like a check the box exercise. But
Absolutely.
um, with all that being said, like, what are your takeaways? Because you're in the middle of your audit process currently.
Yep.
But again, like as a non-technical person, what have you taken away from this process? What have you learned from it that you think is like valuable? And maybe perhaps like what you would share with other entrepreneurs who aren't technical cybersecurity guys, but are hearing like, hey, I need to go get this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one, I mean, it sounds silly, but it is expensive. Like it's not it's a, for a smaller company or you're just starting off, like you got to do it at the right time. I think that's part of
Mhm.
it. And our time was when we want to start growing bigger and we need that to work with a lot of corporations. So that the nice thing is it's expensive to get there. In some places, it probably, like we found better options. And obviously it sounds like you guys are a good option too, which is really nice. I think it's a lot who you work with too. A lot of that's like feeling that trust with working with the right people. That's a really big thing with all sides of business, but that was kind of one of the big things we're looking for. Like, do we trust who we're working with? What's the timeline? It takes longer than you think. That was something I did not know. Like I was like, oh yeah, we'll just get a few of these things together. Like, no, you need 6 months of data now. You need to have, then you need to do
Audit
your audit.
window, right? Yeah.
And it's like, that was those things I was like, well, I was just hoping we could do this like do this in like a month period. It's like, no, we got to change over softwares that are SOC 2 compliant in the first place. Then we've got to get all these things ready to go. So it's like there's a lot that goes on in the back end to make sure that you are ready for that transition and that they have the data necessary for you to do it. So I think that was one of the biggest things is time and definitely financing. But you got to do what it makes sense. Like it made sense for us now because we have a lot of these corporate groups that we can onboard 50 to 100 plus hospitals at once, but they need that requirement to do so. And I think that was a big learning experience for us and doing it when it was the right time.
I wanna highlight that, like, for other folks who are in the same situation, that the timing is really important. I've seen a wide variety of takes on this, right? I've seen startup founders without a single customer, without any pipeline say, "Hey, we're gonna go get it." And it may work out for them because they already know, like, "Hey, we have a product market fit, and we have a product that we know enterprise buyers will take a look at, and these enterprise buyers will not mess around without us having a SOC 2," right? I've also seen, like, kind of more on the experimental side of, like, "Hey, we're thinking about putting the SaaS together. We don't know if this is viable, but we're gonna go get a SOC 2 anyway." I would caution against that, right? Conservatively, I like to tell people, you don't wanna spend money on this unless you for sure know, like, you have some pipeline for your company. Um,
I would agree.
yeah, don't spend the time and the effort until you just know that something's coming your way, right? Otherwise, you're just
Yeah.
kind of putting time and effort into this, and you'll learn a lot from it. But you wanna get something out of it because ultimately, uh, at its worst, the SOC 2 is a vehicle for you to get enterprise clients or buyers or partners, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I think at the wrong time, it can sink your company too. Like it's just like it's an expense you got to be careful with and make sure you're doing like it puts effort. You have to put time into it. Like you have to have the time to do it. That was our big thing. We didn't realize like obviously you'll have other initiatives you're doing. You're trying to get customers. You're trying to build your own software, do other things, and then doing SOC 2 requires its own effort. You have to change things. You have to make sure you're up to date. You have to follow certain rules, and it takes time. So you got to make sure you're in a good place to do it. And that was a big part of like you know development wise.
and you have a whole, I mean, you got, like you said, you have a whole other set of jobs, right? Like as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you're doing a million different things, and all of a sudden you're forced to learn how to do access reviews for like the the four employees that you have and never done this before. So,
Yeah, I think find the
um,
partners that you can talk to easily and they'll help you, like, walk you through it. That's a big part of that. Like, just like, "Hey, I know nothing." Getting from ground one, so that's why it's helpful to work with people like yourselves and, we like Sprinto's working well for us too, but, like, those are the type of companies you wanna work with.
yeah. Yeah, I like to when it comes to folks who've never done this before, I try to talk to them as if like, hey, we're at a bar and we're going to talk about like what this is and what this means
Yeah.
for you, what it means for your business, and we'll go from there, right? You'll learn as you go along. But um, Robert, anything else that you'd want to share with our listeners in the world about my Balto?
Honestly, just appreciate you guys taking some time to chat with us and getting the mission out there, what we're trying to do. If you're ever interested in even donating to help support pets in need, you can always reach out to me. If something that you're passionate about, you want to get more involved, you're always welcome to do so. Or if you want to learn more about the SOC 2 journey, I'll probably put you in touch with Joe first because he knows far more than I do. You got to find the right partners is a good thing. And I really appreciate the time I've had to chat with you because I've learned a lot already in that short amount of time.